6 needed, and that could be the winning hit. It is. It's 6 for Lewis Gregory, and Somerset have won by 6 wickets. Tremendous win for Somerset, chasing down 194 to win, with Will Smead leading the way.
Hello there, and Happy New Year in the, the 3rd week of February. This is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Shepherd. Joining me for our first episode of the year, kicking off 2026. Well, I guess I normally say it's grim up north to you, Steve, but given the battering that the Southwest
it's dry compared to you guys, I think.
Over the last 6 weeks, it's been positively tropical up north. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah. First day of spring up in Liverpool today as well, which was nice.
Oh, happy days. Did you watch I caught the end of the Forest game on Sunday. We were very, very lucky.
No, we were in Bath over the weekend, so fortunately I wasn't subjected to that. I don't think I even want to watch it back now.
Without wanting to divert into football too much, got another Liverpool fan with us. He's, of course, Somerset CTC's head of digital and marketing and anything else that needs doing. Ben Warren's with us as well. Ben, he was onside by a toe, wasn't he?
Yeah, never in doubt, was it? But nice to see you, Shep.
Yeah, you too, mate. And also joining us tonight, we have the voice of cricket on BBC Radio Somerset for another season at least. It's Anthony Gibson. Gibbo, how are you doing down there in Langport? Rather flooded, I gather.
Langport by sea, this is. We're living next to the biggest lake in the west of England, but but we're all right. And wintering well, thank you.
Good. Right, well, it's been kind of quite a busy winter for Somerset's players all around the world. And shall we start with the two that have been grabbing the most headlines? Of course, the Rew brothers, Thomas in the Under-19 World Cup, England Lions, James for England Lions as well, and also in the IL T20 as well, putting some cracking performances over there as well. Shall we start with Tom then? The superlatives just keep going up and up for Rew Minor.
Thomas, not Tom. Thomas.
Sorry, Thomas. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, Debbie. I'll slap myself on the wrist. I mean, Thomas's performance in the Under-19 World Cup, 100 against Australia, the way he captained against Pakistan, and also in India, where what's-his-face was given it. I can never pronounce his names. It's
Juravancia.
Was going ballistic. Was it's still very, very impressive, and still hard to believe that he is only 18 years of age. I'm thoroughly impressed. I mean, it was probably the only cricket that I felt compelled to make an effort to watch was Thomas's performances in the Under-19 World Cup. The Ashes were obviously a debacle, which we'll probably touch on a bit later on, but I mean, I just can't wait to see him pull on a Somerset shirt in the next few weeks. But I gather it's going to be delayed slightly till his A-levels are finished, which are going to be about mid-June, I understand.
Is that right, Ben?
Yeah, from what I believe, he did an interview with Spencer and the club media when he came back, and he's a very, very impressive young man, and just how he comes across is you can tell that he's been well brought up and very respectful young man. And didn't he play well? Like, took along a lot of the the pressure of playing on the big stage, and he did a really, really good job, and he just looked like it was a level below what he was capable of, really. And I think that it was really interesting to hear him mention also about the fact that him playing 50 over cricket for Somerset this last year had sort of geared him up really nicely for a 50 over World Cup. He felt that like playing 50 over cricket and being involved in first team professional cricket this summer really helped him. So really exciting, isn't it? Like, it's particularly in the winter months when you see a young player go and do really, really well for another team. It just adds that extra element of excitement about what potential could happen. But I think we just have to be patient, don't we? He is still very young. There are going to be things that he's going to have to come up with. But yeah, what brilliant talent.
I
Ben,
think
I just
Thomas
need to pick
takes it in his
Crikey.
stride would be the headline of the winter, wouldn't
I
it?
just need to pick Ben up on something. He said playing domestic 50-over cricket prepares you for a 50-over World Cup, and I think you might need to write that on a postcard and send that up to Laws, because it's probably an idea that they maybe need to look into.
Yeah, it was just interesting how he really referenced that. Well, there was a big thing for him, and not just him, but a lot of the other players as well. But yeah, no, great to see.
Caught your eye over the winter, hasn't he, Steve?
Oh, very much, very much. Everything Ben says, and when it started, that tournament, I was like, oh, this will be interesting, because I want to see and sort of judge how he's going to play if he comes into the first 11 in the championship. And then after a couple of innings, you're like, yeah, that's fine. That Ben's comments spot on, playing at a level below his capabilities. I'm sure it's helped watching up close and personal his brother's trajectory over the last couple of years as well. That must be, fantastic learning experience. But yeah, I mean, one of my thoughts is, what's the first 11 going to look like for the opening game of the season? And obviously, if he's not available, that's a shame. But come the summer, when the fixtures get a bit more hectic, it's going to be great to have him in and about the squad. And I think when you sort of look at a team, you see a name on the team sheet, my brain always goes, or yeah, that's fine. And he's definitely yeah, that's fine. I'm glad he's in the side already. But yeah, we've got to be patient. We don't want to put too much pressure on, but it's going to be fun seeing the two of them competing against each other, because we've got previous with brothers competing against each other, haven't we? And was always entertaining. So yeah,
Well,
very, very much looking forward to it.
Hopefully neither of them ends up at Surrey, Gibbo. Richard Walsh.
Wouldn't surprise me entirely. Which of them is going to keep wicket, though? That's what I want to know.
Well, Walshy did ask Thomas on his a little interview he did that the club put out the other day. And Thomas, he kind of didn't seem to mind, really. I don't think we're going to see a Butler Keyswetter type situation where one of them goes because they want the gloves. I think, and I'm only sort of guessing here, but I think James would probably look at that route into the England side, think it is 1, 2, or 3, probably 1 or 2 now. Bethel's seems to have nailed down that position at 3, and think, well, my best chance of getting into that England team is as an opener, and if I'm able to ditch the gloves at Somerset, open from a county, my younger brother takes the gloves, everyone's a winner.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, that would be the ideal scenario. I don't know which of them is the better wicketkeeper, but assuming they're much of a muchness, then I think if Thomas takes the gloves, that will give James the opportunity really to concentrate on his top order batting. Because I can't see him getting into the England side as a wicketkeeper batsman. It'll be as an out-and-out batsman. And
no, because his brother will have that spot nailed down in a few years' time anyway. So
no, it's impossible. Not impossible.
No. I mean, Jamie Smith.
One interesting thing would be whether we think that Thomas Rew will play in the Metro Bank for us this year, or do you think that? I know he's gone
might
into
be
the
elsewhere,
but I fear that he may be elsewhere already.
Yeah,
I feel like that.
Will.
That I'd be if I was having the money bags of the auctions. I think I might be putting a few quid on him.
I think you're right. Which is
he's got a fairly low reserve price. I think it was 31k, which in 100 money is pretty.
Can we bid
minuscule.
in the 100 auction? Can Somerset do that? Can we bid for players? I'll bid for our own players to keep them in the Metro Bank. Well, we've got
It's not
this
quite
20
eBay.
we got this 20 million 100 money in the bank, so I mean, imagine that's a great situation. We're bidding to keep our own players playing at Taunton. I think you're right. I think as well he's a big young name within the game. I think he is almost like a sort of a poster boy at the moment. He's 18 years old. He's the next big thing. He's a fantastic young player. He'd be a great role model for an 8, 9-year-old kid. Think, wow, Thomas Rew is only 18 and he's he's already in this side, and that's what they're doing with the 100. That's the target market. So I think it is odds on that he'll be dressed up as a Chris Packett come the end of July. So might be struggling for a keeper for the for the Metro Bank. TKC will be in it. Banton will be in the other competition. Thomas probably will be, and probably James will too.
There's every chance.
Cool.
Who else have we got? Keep Wicket. Who's the?
No.
You should.
Promising young keeper at South Devon.
Probably my days are behind me. I don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Is there some kind of provision in the regulations that if you're taking all of a county's wicket keepers?
No, I think they could if there's no one obvious, they could sign someone. That's probably what they do.
Well, they have to, I suppose. We'd have to get another loanee in.
Bring James Regan. He could come back, keep wicket.
Alex Barrow's still knocking about. He could do a job. He's still around.
Yeah, he's on the
so.
Well, knowing the way the pathway seems to be working, by the time we get to July, we'll probably have some young wicketkeeper in the twos who's pulling up trees, and he'll come in. So, yeah.
There's not another younger Rew brother that we don't know about that's just coming out and just got in nursery, and he'll probably come out and do the job. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, just looking forward. Do you know if Thomas is going on the pre-season trip to Abu Dhabi, Ben?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. No, I haven't really caught up with Tom so much since he's gone back. But I would imagine yes. He's a fully contracted pro on a rookie contract, so I would imagine yes.
Good stuff. Because was it March the 8th? They're off to Abu Dhabi, aren't they? Round about that time.
Yeah, and the women are off to Sharjah on the 18th March.
What are your thoughts, guys, on the old pre-season tour then? I had a good idea the other week. It really does frustrate me that the game that they go there to play in warm weather is a 2-day. We'll bat one day, you bat the next day. If you get out for nothing, you can come back in a bit later on. Make it a proper 4-day game. And for the flight back, you've got 11 business class luxury seats and you've got 11 economy seats. The winners go in the proper first class suites and the losers go in the economy class. That way there's something on the game. You've got an incentive to play well, but it's not the end of the world if you lose.
Well, whatever the format, hasn't done them much good in recent seasons because we've started really badly in in the last, I don't know how many seasons I can think of. And if we'd started a bit better, we would have been in the hunt very much more towards the end of the season. So, we need to get off to a good start. Say this every year. And Jason says, "Yeah, we'll get off to a good start. We're all raring to go, and they're all fit and firing." And then we go in and lose the first game, or lose down at Hove like we did last year.
I think the circumstances kind of contrived that first game, didn't they, with Worcester, where they were absolutely mentally and physically exhausted after that 200 overs trying to bowl them out, that it took them a week or two to get themselves back on track, I think. And that was mainly the problem. I know they're kind of contractually obliged to play this T20 tournament while they're over there as well, which doesn't seem to me to have a lot of point. But then when you put in the fact that that's probably paying for the tour, it's kind of a necessary evil.
It's a lot better than being stuck in the old indoor nets at the county ground, though, in
that
March,
is true.
and not being able to get on the outfield. So I agree with what Gibbo said. How you translate a week of that, 10 days of that in early March into hitting the ground running in April is to me is the key, because I think we can go back to the 2010 season where we lost so agonisingly on the last day of the season. We had a dreadful start that year, and I think didn't win until about our fourth or our fifth Champo game. So that that has to be a focus. But you look at soccer and the pre-season tours; they're all about revenue generating, and they don't do anything really. It's almost counterintuitive. So if they get warm weather, great, lucky them. Get some practice in, but we have to unlock that Rubicon of how we get the early season form better. But then you get
I always
Banton
like
score
the marquee.
371 and you still can't win. The cricketing gods are against you on days like that.
I always like we had a marquee for a couple of years back in, I think it was like 17 and 18.
Yeah.
And we actually started those seasons well from recent memory. But there are reasons why they don't do that anymore. Part of it is cost, but part of it is the ground. Like there's so much cricket on the ground now that the marquee going up just add more and more pressure on the square and getting the pitch and the square ready for the season. So
couldn't they put a marquee up at the Vale? Would that be an option if you want to try and keep the county ground as pristine as possible? The cost of having a marquee at the Vale could not be more than.
It's heating it as well, isn't it? It's all that.
I know, but
it's very, very expensive.
Lugging 30 people halfway around the world for 10 days and putting them up and feeding them. I mean, that's got to come at a considerable expense as well. So
there was that famous video, probably is one of yours, Ben, of Trez walking out in the snow, wasn't it? All
that's right.
padded up and everything, striding out to go and have a session in that marquee. One of my favourite things, images of his career, I think.
Yeah, I think that most counties do go. I mean, I think Surrey had a marquee for a lot longer than we did. I don't know if they still have it or not, but I know that they have a marquee at the Oval up until recently. If they don't already,
I think they're going to buy a Caribbean island, Ben, next year and use that instead.
But most go abroad, and I think that it's about what happens when you come back home, because that first game against Nottinghamshire is, the first game's always massive, but that is such a marquee fixture to have as your first game. The champions come in your home on in your first match day. It's such a wonderful opportunity to lay a marker down, and equally a really good big test. They're not going to come with a very strong side, so they need to get it. They need to get it right this year for sure.
I think that might be an advantage. That Worcester, no disrespect to Worcester, but they were one of the weaker teams in that division last year, and maybe at the back of their minds, the guys are thinking, "Okay, we got Worcester. It's a bit of an easier transition into the season. Nice, easy game first up. We should win this one. They don't win it in extraordinary circumstances, just knocks you back for 6. Whereas, you've got the defending champions coming down to your ground, first game of the season. That focuses the mind that you've got to be on it from ball one if you're going to lay down a marker and put down a serious challenge for the county championship this year. What's your favourite saying about bowlers, Steve?
You think you've got enough seam bowlers, sign one more.
I would think you need to modify that to 9 or 10 more at the minute. I'm just looking at the squad. This is what has been keeping me awake at night over the winter about Somerset is our seam bowling strength and depth, or current lack of it. At the moment, we have Jake Ball, 84 first-class games. Lewis Gregory, 140 first-class games. Craig Overton, 147. And Josh Shaw, 64 on the books. Supported by Alfie Ogborn with 5. And then JT Langridge, Kean Roberts, and James Steedham with a duck between them, all 3 yet to make their debuts. Miguel Pretorius has 77. Slightly worried about him. He hasn't played a game since the T20 final back in September against Hampshire. He's been sort of nursing a nasty foot injury over the winter. So, am I overly worried, or do you share my concerns?
I'd share your concerns.
Are there any rumours of another overseas signing on the way?
Not that I've heard.
I've not heard anything, but I don't get too heavily involved in the sort of day-to-day cricket side of things these days. But yeah, it's there's still time, isn't there? I think our good friend Dan tweeted out kind of a few days ago, I think, about the sort of in the past Somerset have signed the timing of Somerset signings, and it can be sort of, if they are going to act sort of at the end of February, early March, it can bleed into. So I've no idea, but I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to say either way at this stage. I think there's still time to make it happen if they were going to.
I think they have to be, because what we've got at the moment doesn't look thick enough to sustain a county championship season, and we've also had a substantial decrease in the wage bill with all the departures over the winter, and the only incoming player being Josh Shaw. That the money's got to be there, and also the need is there. So, I mean, I would imagine if they have to be working extremely hard behind the scenes to get the right player in. I don't know what you think, Gibbo. Are you thinking that's strong enough, or?
Well, if they all stay fit, it probably is. But with rotation, Lewis Gregory is his body is sort of not quite giving up on him. But by the end of the season last year, he was in a real mess. Craig Overton has to be handled very, very carefully. Miggy Pretorius, as you say, I mean, he's had this foot injury, and I think a lot depends on how well Alfie Ogborn and JT Langridge step up. I think they're going to have to really, really perform with things as they are. I can't see Josh Shaw making much of an impact in county championship cricket. I think he's been signed mainly for the Blast, and Jake Ball with the best will in the world. I mean, 5-10 years ago, you put a lot of money on him, but he hasn't looked like taking 5 wickets in the county championship match since he's come to Somerset. So we are very heavily reliant on Craig Overton, Lewis Gregory, Miggy Pretorius, with of course Jack Leach to bowl spin. But Jack Leach isn't going to find it easy in the early season. The first 7 championships games between the beginning of March and the end of May, there isn't much in the pitch for the spinners. So it's and you've got to take 20 wickets to win games of county championship cricket these days. And I'm honestly, I think if everything goes as well as it possibly can, then we could do it. But if things start to go wrong, I think we're in trouble.
I think we could be possibly bringing in a few guys on loan as well. I know that sounds very, very strange thing to say after we were farming guys out left, right and centre on loan so they could get cricket last season. This year, I think we are going to be potentially looking at a loan signing here or there, which is unfortunate.
Who and from where, though? That's what, when you look at around the site, you're probably having to think about loan signing someone from the lower division, and that's not an attractive option. If I was a chief exec at any other county in Division 1, I wouldn't really want to be loaning Somerset at SEMA, who just was a little bit surplus to requirements at the moment. I think that there's plenty of other places you'd loan that person out.
Exactly.
Alfie's. I feel like Alfie's. I think this is going to be a really interesting period for Alfie. I think that this is a really great opportunity for him to really establish himself as a first team cricketer at Somerset. Really, he's been slightly unfortunate with injuries, and just finding that consistency of being a first division bowler takes time. It does take time. Not many young bowlers are good enough for the first division without being given time. So, I think he's now probably at a stage where he's had enough exposure to it, and a couple of good winters, and I'm really excited to see how he goes. Actually, I think that he could have a good impact on the side.
I do get the
You
feeling
could
that.
be
Sorry, Steve, you go on.
you could be counterintuitive and say all the years where we've had really strong seam bowling and the batting that we've sort of sat and we used to say, didn't we, how many times are we going to talk about the openers? How many times are we going to talk about the batting this season? Perhaps counterintuitively, the batting will win us the title this year. There's an optimistic thought.
Batting
And I
never
know
does win. Batting never
I
does win
well,
titles.
I know I was about to say I know what you said, Anthony, but if you can score runs and score them quickly and put scoreboard pressure on, that's a different dynamic.
Yeah, well,
But yeah, we've got to get an overseas quick for the.
I've just been
a
looking back
decent
at
one.
Somerset in the early 1990s when Jimmy Cook was scoring 2,500 runs a season, and we'd won absolutely bugger all
Yeah,
because
well, that was a very
we didn't
different
have any bowlers.
surface, though, wasn't it? That was, that was more durable than the M5 between Taunton and Wellington.
Well, we got beaten fairly often, even if we didn't win very often.
I mean, the irony is now we've got so many spin bowling all-rounders in the sides, we could try and get a return to side for a bat. So we've got a looming
Difficult in early season there.
Exactly, I was just going to say it's virtually impossible to try and do that in April. So I was going to say, do we have to accept that temper our expectations? Is this potentially going to be a transitional season for the bowling attack? Do we potentially say
I'll go
that
back to what I said just now. I think if they stay fit, we've got there's enough there potentially in that attack to take 20 wickets if they stay fit and if they bowl well. I mean, Greg Overton's one of the best fast medium bowlers in the country. Lewis Gregory makes up in guile and skill what he lacks now in pace. Miggy Pretorius will keep running in, and hitting it, hitting a good hard length, bowling at top of off stump. I agree with Ben. I think Alfie Ogborn's got huge potential, and if he can really step up to first team cricket, and then you've got Mr. Reliable Jack Leach at the other end. So I'm not ruling Somerset out at all. I'm just saying that it does need in the bowling department for everything that can go right to go right if we're going to contend. And if a lot, if things start going wrong, I think we'll be in trouble.
Well, just looking at how the fixtures fall with regards to the break weeks in the first championship games, and we play the first 3 weeks, and then we've got week 4 off, which I think comes at an excellent time for us. So we could potentially go without any rotation, play the same side for the first 3 weeks, and then everybody has a week off. And I think that's about as good as we could have hoped for in that respect. So the first thing to go right has gone right, Gibbo. So
Yep.
The path to the title marches on. When to next then? Well, it's 7:30. I went to the Members' Day a couple of weeks ago up at the ground. Very good, very enjoyable day as always. Thanks to Ben and all the guys who put that on. Probably the two things that stuck out in my mind the most was the news that we now have 20-odd million quid in the bank, courtesy of the windfall from the other competition.
Well, we haven't got it in the bank.
Haven't we not? I thought we did have it in the bank.
We've only got 330,000 in the bank. The ECB's got all the rest, and we have to apply for it. So,
is that why Ben's not got his
money,
Ferrari
which
yet, then?
they will allocate to counties, provided the counties ask for it for the right sort of things.
So what are we asking for, Ben? I know the Botham stand needs a bit of TLC.
Okay. So it's a good question.
Here and there.
And it's to knock the Botham stand down and build something else there, isn't it?
Well, I think that without sort of boring everyone around business and that sort of stuff like that.
Not boring. You can talk to me about business. I'm happy.
Yeah, talk to me about it as well.
Yeah, what we ultimately need to do is make us more profitable and less reliant on ECB income. because there's no guarantees beyond a certain stretch. So that's we have to use what we have and increase in areas that we haven't necessarily tapped into before. Maybe but we really need to look at ultimately not being able to provide revenue sources that aren't just cricket matches, and looking really deeply into that because of the challenges we have with our competition, with our other counties to compete. We need to be financially really, really strong. So we have to use that money incredibly wisely to ensure that we turn 20 million into 40 million, and not just turn 20 million into great, cool, we've got a new shiny toy and then that's it. So that's the challenge. That's what we're working really hard on as a business, to look at ways in which we can use that money as wisely as possible, while still retaining everything that we all love about the club, and not losing sight on winning trophies and providing great experiences for our members and supporters, putting on great match days. Those are all still massively important, and why we're all here. We need to find ways to strategically make more money so that we can compete with the 100 clubs. That's the bottom line, because they have the chasm. I'm sure everyone's read articles about the potential chasm between the have and the have-nots. We want to be with the haves as much as we possibly can. So that's going to mean some changes and some exciting developments, and we'll see where we go. But there's a lot of people working really, really hard on a kind of a new, what Somerset is going to sort of have evolve into, and that's, I think, on the whole, really exciting, because it means a lot of good things that will continue to support from a cricket side.
So it sounds, Ben, and
I was just going to say, is that the thinking between, or the thinking about staging the Winter Wonderland, and we've got the darts coming up in a few weeks? Is it just kind of trying as much as we can, seeing what works, and then kind of knowing that we've got if something does fail catastrophically, you've got the 100 money to kind of sort of bail it out a bit. But if you do come on to a winner, because I think the darts is selling really well, but it's going to be in a marquee. But if you continually did that annually, sold it out, you could then possibly make the case of, do you know what? We could buy a bit of land somewhere near the ground, make it into our car park, and, I don't know, stick a concert venue or an indoor facility on the back of the Chess Pavilion, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely spot on. The Winter Wonderland, the darts, these are the first shoots of, because, ultimately we've never had in the past the kind of capital to invest in, making it happen. There's a really good opportunity to use this to our advantage as best we can. So we are in the phase of, for those that saw it, tried the Winter Wonderland over the winter. It was a learning thing. Lots of things that went well. Lots of things to work on. The darts, again, sold over 1,000 for the darts. So this is going to happen more regularly, of us trying to find other revenue streams, because cricket is, we are limited by the number of seats that we have in the ground. And the easy answer is maybe get 10,000 seat a stadium and things like that, but it's not always that straightforward. There are case studies of other sports clubs that have gone down that route and it backfire. But I think that it will be noticeable, and certainly in the next 12 months it will be noticeable of a slightly different kind of a slightly different Somerset ultimately, but it's still a Somerset that is, has cricket and member experience, customer experience right at the very heart of it.
I think there's two things there, Ben. The first is what you said about you said a 10,000 seater stadium, but I think for us as supporters, one of the things is to try and keep the integrity of the county ground as the best county ground in the country, and we've done that so well. And not just the biased four of us, but so many people say that. I think that's really important. But the economic fact is that even if every home championship game went the full distance, then it's still only a relatively small fraction of the year that you've got live events at the ground, isn't it? So it's that, when you're talking and you're saying about marquees and that, it is trying to have something like an event space or whatever that can be bolted on, I'm guessing, because then that generates the revenue. What you don't want to do is end up like Edgbaston or Old Trafford, which are now soulless places with white elephants and awful hotels bolted onto them. And I hope it's really difficult, and I don't envy the people trying to do it. I've sort of, in my day job, get involved in not as big a schemes as that, but similar decisions to be made. If we get the balance right, it could really transform us and put us into that upper echelon of the haves. Mm-hmm. But from an old codger who's been watching Somerset cricket for so long, it's still about keeping that integrity of it. As the heart of it has got to be the county cricket club, because that's the whole ethos of why it's there.
And I think that is absolutely top. I think you've got a CEO in Jamie Cox who understands the DNA of the club to the T. There's a team around Jamie that all really sort of love what we have at Somerset, and looking to evolve it, but in a way that it doesn't, it enhances, not detracts. We want to we want to make sure that membership grows, ticket revenue grows. Like, none of this is like, none of these non cricket things are a kind of a this or that. It's we need to grow everything, and we've now got we need to use that 100 money to help grow everything.
Trouble is that the county ground is a fantastic county cricket ground. It's not actually a particularly fantastic multi-event entertainment centre. It's it's small and it's cramped and potential is limited, and wouldn't surprise me if the the move out of Taunton comes back into the equation again, as it was 20, 25, 30 years ago, when they were talking quite seriously about moving out to a new ground somewhere near the M5 motorway. And of course Gloucestershire have got that sort of thing in mind as well, because if we're going to become financially self-supporting, we've got to have income sources beyond cricket. And as Ben has been explaining, the county ground is not best placed to generate those income sources. So there's going to be some tough decisions having to be taken. But it's we've got 25 million from 100 best part of, but that is the opportunity to make Somerset self-supporting for the next 25, 30, 40 years if it's used well and wisely. So it's I think real for Jamie Cox.
It's having to be creative. Yeah. I think that there are other grounds, as you mentioned, Gibbo, that are got big 500-seater rooms that they can have conferences in, big city-based grounds that have got a huge demand of people to use their spaces for all sorts of stuff. Whereas we don't really have that in Taunton. We have to be very creative with our indoor space, because we've got a good sort of conference and events business, but we are in Taunton, and it's having to be creative with our outside space. Things like the Winter Wonderland and the darts. We can't host the darts. We'd love to be able to host the darts in a Ali Pali style room that was ours, but we're having to be creative around the space that is around the Taunton ground, and that is just needing to be creative about how it's used. Like the Winter Wonderland, that was a fairly unique kind of proposition that came to us. So that's the challenge, is that we don't have big 500-seat kind of conference theatre style rooms that can be rented out for big money, like every weekend of the year. But that's us.
We haven't got any parking either, or hardly any. Another big. Well, it's a big issue.
I was just thinking, it's popped into my head, you could just dig down in the St James's Street car park, dig down, big underground car park, and then you just build up your event space on top of that.
With the River Tone just along there, you dig down about 6 feet, you're underwater.
Okay, maybe not that then. Yeah, so for a little bit more space would be lovely, wouldn't it? Because, as good as it is putting these events, I mean, it came to a head sort of for the end of season dinner last year, didn't it? With the integration of the men's and the women's there all on one night, there was, practically no space left for the paying public, which I know caused a few consternations. Well, we'll watch his space then, I guess. Darts is when? The 27th of March?
Yeah, 20. Yeah, is it? I think it might be 28th. So the 27th to the 28th.
I'm pretty sure it's the 27th, which is the same day as our first pre-season friendly against Glamorgan. Eddie Byram, Ned Leonard and Sean Dixon and co will be making their way back to the Cooper Associates County Ground. I'm sure I would put my mortgage probably on Sean Dixon getting 100. Just to give it that to Sarge again. Because cricket is around about a month away, which is not long now. I cannot wait. There was something else on my list I was going to talk about. Shoaib Bashir has parted ways with Somerset. He decided to go off to Derbyshire. I like Bash. I think England have ruined him. I think they've just
I don't think he's ruined yet. I think it's a bit early to write him. England have treated him really badly. I agree. But, there's plenty of raw talent there. And I'm very pleased he's got a gig up at Derbyshire and wish him every conceivable success. He's a lovely young bloke. What Stokes and Co have seen in him is not a complete mirage. He does have that high release point and he has got huge potential. And I really hope that he does well for Derbyshire and goes and gets back into the England setup.
It looks like it's going to be difficult though, doesn't it? Which is where I've
we haven't got. They're not going to pick Jack Leach again, by the look of it.
No. Well, they're probably
Liam Dawson is in the same sort of category as Jack Leach. And he's not going to run through a test side with his left arm spin. So if they want a potentially match winning spinner, there aren't very many to choose from. Rian Ahmed isn't. He's more of a batsman than a bowler. And his younger brother I saw at Trent Bridge. I wasn't hugely impressed with him either. The match winning spinners, they're just not around at the moment.
It'd be interesting to see how he goes for Derbyshire. I think it'd be. I'm sure he'll have wanted some sort of assurances around playing on those early season pitches and whether Derbyshire can produce pitches that give him anything. But I think it'd be. I echo everyone's thoughts. I really, really want him to succeed, and I think everyone at Somerset, he leaves us with, very, very on very, very good terms. I think that I think we'd all love to see him do well and play for England, and hopefully make the most of his bowling potential. I just find it's almost sad, isn't it, that because of his batting and his fielding, it's when he's playing in England, it's particularly in county cricket, it's always gonna be something that teams find difficult to pick him unless unless there's a reason to for the pitch, or if he's bowling exceptionally well. So yeah, good luck to him. I hope he can make it work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the right decision for him to move. I think unless Jack Leach and 2 or 3 others are injured, it's very difficult to see how he now would get back into a Somerset team, because if we want two spinners, we're going to bat Archie Vaughan at 7. Josh Thomas has probably made a case to open the batting for the first 3 or 4 championship games with the runs he made at Chelmsford in the last game of the season. So you really don't see how he finds his way back as a regular first team bowler, which is a shame. Had he not been with England, had he been just left to learn his trade as a second spinner to Leach in the seconds, who knows? He may have improved to a degree where he was challenging Leach, but difficult. But I did feel for him being dragged around Australia, not playing when he should have played 1, if not 2 of those games.
Yeah.
The thing is, it wasn't a million miles ago that he was the leading wicket taker in international cricket for a while.
Yeah.
I think he just got pipped on the last couple of days, but it feels different now. But he's so young that when you look back and think that he took 50 odd wickets in international cricket in a year, like it's not many people can say they've done that. So there's still a lot there that that he can develop and work on, and hopefully have a really good career.
Just wonder, because he's always talked about Ben Stokes making him feel 10 feet tall, like $1 million. Is that relationship still going to be there after they've taken him all around Australia and didn't have the confidence to pick him when they definitely should have picked him at Adelaide, and then went for the?
I think so. Yeah, like these things happen, don't they? Like, sport changes like that. So who knows? But I wouldn't not rule him out at all.
Me neither. I agree.
I wouldn't either. Moving on then. Another departure. Everybody seems to be leaving now. Sir Michael Barber, or Lord Barber as he is now, has had to make the difficult decision to step down as chairman of the club, or chair of the club, as he is taking up more responsibilities in the House of Lords. I wonder if he'll sit next to our old mate Ian Botham when he's in there, and they can chat about pitches.
I think it's quite unlikely, actually.
Well, I looked, and our Ian Botham has not been cited in the House of Lords for about 5 years. I had a little look on the website. So
I'm not sure they're exactly political soulmates.
No, indeed not, and it remains unlikely that they ever will be. But yeah, I mean, if it was me, I'm sure that I would have said to sorry PM, but I've got a bit of unfinished business down at Taunton. I'll pop into the House of Lords and don Ermine as soon as Somerset win the county championship. But
do we know yet, Ben, who his successor is likely to be? Richard Bryce? Will he step up as chair and vice chair?
So all I know is that there will be a process that's just starting to get underway now of the replacement. There'll be a process about that, and definitely leaves with club's best wishes. He was very well connected, very likable individual who cared deeply, and I'm sure we'll still see him down at the ground. And it's a shame.
Can we not move the House of Lords to Taunton and use the money to build something and use it as event space as well?
Yeah.
The House of Lords don't sit that often.
Because they've got to be refurbished then.
Well, they don't sit that often, so you could have like a multi-use chamber where all the benches went back, and you could use it for. Yeah. Imagine that, darts on a Friday night and a debate on assisted dying on a Monday afternoon. I reckon that's a winner, Ben. I think. Yeah. Tell Jamie in the morning we've sorted it for him.
Stick with the indoor school. Oh, that'll work.
Yeah.
There we go. Go on, do that. Just send an email to Lords tomorrow asking for some of your 100 money to build a temporary House of Lords in the car park.
Yeah, Somerset becomes the new Lords.
Give out some press vouchers for lunch. Stragglers or fish and chips and the both
Got
of
to
them.
be the carvery, Ben. Got to be the carvery. Get the
Oh
carvery.
yeah.
I'll buy shares in Howard's if they move down. I think
I vote Tennant. Whenever he comes to Taunton, he still complains about not being able to use the carvery for his lunch.
Yeah. Bless him.
About 12 years ago now.
Well, that was another thing from the Members' Day. They have taken on board the feedback. I mean, you and me know, Gibbo, the offering from stragglers is not on the healthier side, but that's all been addressed now. So there's going to be a whole new range of food available from stragglers, healthier options. So looking forward to seeing that. What else happened at the Members' Day? I was very impressed with Erin Osborne, Somerset's new women's head coach. She did a bit of a Q&A with Spencer. She came across very knowledgeable, very experienced character, and she said a lot of the right things about what we were sort of thinking about where the women team were at the end of the season. What's the phrase she used? Like autonomous cricketers, just getting the girls to think for themselves a lot more, and just trying to get experience into them without getting experience into them. That making sense?
No.
Yeah. Get them, be more game aware in situations, that sort of things. There's a couple of times last season, which we already touched on at the time, where you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure what you're thinking is there, but that's kind of seems to be number one on our list of how to develop cricketers. So that's looking forward to seeing Somerset women in action again this year. And I think I've come to the end of my little list of stuff that I wanted to talk about. Do we have AOB?
Well, what's the team going to look like for the first game?
Well, Banton's at the IPL.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's doing his exams.
Is he in the Pakistan Super League, TKC?
No, I don't think he is. He's I think his little lad's got to have an operation because he was born with a cleft palate. So I think there's something to do with that. He's having an operation at that time, so obviously TKC is not going to the PSO, so he will be available. I think that's it then, is it? Just be Banton and Thomas Rew not available first few weeks of the season?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah, unless I've missed anyone, but yeah.
So
yeah,
probably...
Bance won't be back till June. No. So we might miss Bance for a fair bit of the early season things, and certainly the first block of Champo games. So I don't believe Tom will be. I think he'll still be with the IPL.
Well, so they all stay fit.
I think
especially the bowlers.
I echo that sentiment, definitely. Couple of listeners' questions and where we go. Andy Cleve is concerned about the lack of news on a second overseas signing of the county championship. No rumours that we're aware of. Andy, would you like the club to remain competitive across all formats or solely focus on county championship?
No, all formats.
All formats. Yeah. I think we do a good enough job. I don't think we ever sacrifice one format for another.
Best all-round team in the country last year.
Definitely.
Third in the championship, losing semi-finalists in the Metro Bank and winning the Blast. And that's what we should aspire to. Be the best team in the country.
Definitely. I don't think what could we have done differently to focus more on the county championship? I don't really think there is anything we could have done.
I don't know.
I think, there's all the players that we signed.
Persuade Riley Meredith to bowl in the county championship instead of just...
Well, there is that, yeah.
He's been taking wickets in the Sheffield Shield and got a fifer the other day.
I know, but is he going to be the answer on some pretty turgid, lifeless April pitches?
Got pace.
We've lost the Kookaburra ball, haven't we, this year?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. No Kookaburra games this year.
Yep.
So
hopefully the pitches will be a bit spicier.
Well, that's what Nick Pepper's trying to do. He spoke on the Members' Day as well. There is a pitch that's going to be ready to be used this year, I think he was saying. which was relayed winter of 2024-25. And I think from what he was saying, it's going to be one that's got a bit deeper root growth, because that's the key for pace and bounce, is root growth. That holds the surface together and keeps it all compact so that when the ball hits it, it bounces up. So there's one which I think he said we'll probably use for the Glamorgan friendly, I think he said, and then maybe later on in the season if it plays all right. So that's what he's trying to do to get more pace and bounce out the surfaces.
Yeah, he's great, Nick. Really nice chap, and he enjoys talking about his, his sort of preparations, and yeah, he's really good.
He talked for about an hour about the Durham pitch as well, and was fighting his corner, and then he was telling her all about how the disagreements that they had after the Worcester game between him and some of the players and the coaching staff about that particular pitch. And of course, Nick plays himself, so he said, "Well, I thought you bowled too much spin. You should have bowled your seamers a bit more. It's not going to spin. It was too slow. If you bowl your seamers a little bit more, you probably won." So yes, he's not afraid to fight his corner. Is spicy individual, as they might say. Andy Cleve, second question. To clarify my second question, which is the one about prioritising, the majority of our squad are all format players, so I wonder whether this impacts Championship hopes at the back end of the season. Doesn't think we have the seam bowling depth for the Championship currently. Who opens the batting for the season opener versus Notts? So I'm going Josh Thomas and either TKC or Archie Vaughan. Any advance on that?
No, I think that's been a good call.
Well, the wild card's Will Smead, isn't it? Because he wants to play red ball cricket. So, is he going to make the run that I hope he makes and is in contention for that? And if so, where does he bat? And I'm not saying that I know, it was in the white ball. That doesn't mean he's going to open in red ball. But that's another, when I was thinking about Bantam being away, Thomas Rew not being available, and on the plus side, I said, well, hopefully Will Smead's going to come into the equation. So, sort
give
of
him a go. So he just does well in pre-season and makes a case for himself.
You and me both, Anthony. I think we're both in that corner.
Yeah. He made last season in the twos, he sort of made handy runs, but he didn't make a definite case to demand to be picked. He was very much 400, then a few low scores, and then maybe 50 the week after. So it was.
But he's the sort of player, if he gets in and has it's stupid to say, but, he will score runs quickly and he'll score them attractively as well. And probably a couple of good innings in the Championship's what he needs to kickstart that phase of his career, I think.
I think we need to take the same sort of attitude to Will Smead as England take to Jacob Bethel. Just recognise the talent and give him the chance.
Yes. Here.
Difficult to see who he replaces, though.
Well, obviously, there's the Banton slot that's knocking around.
Banton slot. I suppose you'd say Lewis Goldsworthy would come into contention. So would TKC for that one. So there is plenty of options. Harry Hayden asks, can you solve the mystery of James Rew's new one-year contract to the end of the season when he previously had a 3-year one ending the same date? Just 8 o'clock. We'll knock it on the head in a minute.
I think some people got slightly confused with the wording of a social media post that went out from one of our new social media guy, Sam. If you read the wording closely, I think Sam was referring to when he went recently. I think he found an old web story that he thought was recent that wasn't that recent. To say a slight sort of newbie sort of thing on the old social medias, but yeah.
And I will just mention one word which Ben will know what I'm on about. December. Did you miss that one? You missed that one.
Sorry.
I'll tell you about it afterwards. Harry Everett will remember what I said. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Good stuff then, guys. So hopefully that one's solved for you, Harry. Any other business before we knock it on the head?
No, I'm good today, thank you.
Yep.
All good.
Good. Fantastic. Right. Well, thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. I will sure we'll catch up with you again before the season starts in earnest in just over a month's time. It's getting close. I can feel it in my waters. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
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 Cheers.